And we're going to start right into the action. Lining up on the Plan B jammer line for the Reservoir Dolls, we have number 27, Blitz Siren. She's going against Dalek Doll, jamming for the Vaudeville Vixens in number 32.
And the jam begins. Looks like both jammers are working their way through the pack, but Dalek Doll is going to break through first to take lead jam for the Vixens. Looks like Blitz Siren's just getting through the pack herself. Going to work on catching up to Dalek Doll.
And Dalek Doll approaching the pack, trying to get past as many Reservoir Dolls as she can. She gets stuck in the front of the pack. Calls the jam off and scores 4 points for the Vixens. That brings the Vixens to a quick start there, 4-0 against the Reservoir Dolls. And we got a shout out here to my Derby crew, Amy, Tara, Larry, Lucy, and I guess my wife. Thank you for making this a great year, Dozer.
We do have another Derby shout out here. Congrats to the Rumblebees. You ladies rock.
And jamming on the track right now for the Vaudeville Vixens, we've got Nefarious up against, it looks to be Sproutin' a Tail, jamming for the Reservoir Dolls. And
Yep.
Sproutin' a Tail is out first.
Yep, Sproutin' a Tail has taken lead jam for the Reservoir Dolls, and in the meantime, Nefarious ended up picking up a track cut penalty, so she will be spending 30 seconds in the box, giving a power jam to Sproutin' a Tail and the Reservoir Dolls.
Sproutin' a Tail making her first scoring pass through the pack with a Minnie Madison grand slam and 5 points for the Reservoir Dolls. Reservoir Dolls slowing that pack down so Sproutin' a Tail can just skate around. They move up to kind of break way through the Vixen wall and help Sprout get another Minnie Madison grand slam and 5 points for the Reservoir Dolls. Harley Sin, Snark, Jean du Snark, and A Magnitude 10 out there trying to fight against Sproutin' a Tail.
Yeah, they almost managed to push her around to the outside, but she does get through, picking up another Minnie of Madison grand slam.
5 more points for the Reservoir Dolls, and she just pushed her way up through the Vaudeville Vixen wall so that wall was 10 or more than 10 feet out from the front of the pack, thus making them out of eligibility, or out of the engagement zone. Thank you, not the eligibility zone.
E-words.
No, engagement zone. So blockers can engage the jammers up through the eligibility zone. I mean, engagement zone. They're eligible to block that jammer.
All right, lining up on the Plan B jammer line. Looks like we have Berserk Lee jamming for the Vaudeville Vixens. She'll be jamming up against Mouse for the Reservoir Dolls.
Mouse, quick jolt to the inside. She goes down but gets right back up again, and she gets through. Lead jammer for the Reservoir Dolls is Mouse.
And following close behind her is Berserk Lee, having broken free from the pack herself.
In that last jam, Sproutin' a Tail brought the Reservoir Dolls up to 20 points against the Vixens 4. Now Mouse has just scored another 4 points for the Reservoir Dolls. Berserk Lee also through the pack, scoring 4 points for the Vaudeville Vixens.
Mouse going to sneak around on the inside, call off the jam as soon as she gets through.
She does a great job of sneaking to the outside, making it look like she's going to take that outside line, and then quickly moving her feet to the inside where they have left a hole for her. So
I'm not yet unconvinced that Mouse can't defy the laws of physics.
Mouse has been skating for 11 years. She's learned the laws of physics and has learned how to skate with them.
All right, looks like we have Hopscotch up on the line, jamming for the Reservoir Dolls in black, up against Kenna Vendetta, jamming against, for the Vaudeville Vixens in the brown and pink.
Kenna Vendetta fighting against P1MP there, Busta Crimes, and Jean Lane trying to make her way through. She does step up and around on the inside, but is also blocked there by Charlie Hustle. Meanwhile, it looks like the Reservoir Dolls jammer, Hopscotch, has been called off the track for a penalty, a track cut. She'll be spending 30 seconds in the Monkey Bar Gym penalty box. That leaves Kenna Vendetta and the Vaudeville Vixens with a power jam. Kenna Vendetta, your lead jammer for the Vaudeville Vixens.
And it does look like, in addition to the jammer for the Reservoir Dolls being in the penalty box, there are 2 blockers in there. So they are at a significantly reduced pack strength. So let's see how Kenna Vendetta and the Vaudeville Vixens can take advantage of that.
She just took advantage by getting a nice Minnie Madison grand slam as the Vaudeville Vixens moved up and played a little bit of offense against the 2 Reservoir Doll blockers. She gets through that last pack. No points for the Vixens or the Res Dolls on that, but the Vixens now have 13 points. Reservoir Dolls at 28, and both teams will start with a jammer on the jammer line.
I'd like to take a quick moment to read out an audience shout out to Blitz Siren. You are a 5-star alarm. Rocket fire tonight?
It's Blitz Siren's birthday today, so if you see her, please wish her a happy birthday. And if you've got another birthday or special someone you want to give a shout out to, head on over to the merch table before it closes at halftime of this bout.
Getting back down to the action, looks like we have Montana Slamma jamming for the Vaudeville Vixens up against Shenanigans for the Reservoir Dolls. Shenanigans taking lead jam for her team. However, Montana Slamma is hot on her heels.
Both jammers speeding around the track. Shenanigans hitting that pack first. She turns around, getting that point, 2 points, and calls the jam off. We'd like to thank one of our great sponsors as well, Roman Candle Pizzeria. Roman Candle is a place where family, friends, and neighbors can gather for good times and even better pizza. Roman Candle Pizzeria. Also, we'd like to thank Super Duper. Super Duper offers digital, offset, letterpress, and hand silk screen printing, and they specialize in CD and DVD packaging and manufacturing. Back on the track, the action going on now with the jammers from the Reservoir Dolls. We've got, it looks like Wipeout Scout jamming up against Nefarious for the Vixens. Wipeout Scout making it through the pack first. She is lead jammer.
Now it looks like Nefarious is going to sneak on through on the inside, breaking through the pack as well.
Wipeout Scout hits the inside, gets around a little bit on the outside. One Vixen passes one Vixen and calls the jam off. One more point for the Reservoir Dolls. And lining up for the next jam for the Reservoir Dolls, it looks like we have Blitz Siren, birthday girl, jamming for the Reservoir Dolls. She'll be jamming up against Jocelyn Helbernell for the Vaudeville Vixens.
All right, jam begins. Blitz Siren wasting no time ramming up against the wall of Vixens. Not quite having any luck getting by yet.
Jocelyn Helbernell taking her way to the outside, being slowed down by the Reservoir Dolls, but going back and forth. Charlie Hustle looks like she recycled her to the back of the pack. Meanwhile, Blitz Siren pushing the Vaudeville Vixens up to the front and making her way out. She's lead jam for the Reservoir Dolls. Ooh, just getting through the pack. Falling down over somebody's feet there, but she gets through the pack. Blitz Siren scoring a Minnie Madison grand slam for the Reservoir Dolls.
Jocelyn Helbernell still working her way against the Res Dolls' defensive wall. Looks like she's going to get by Busta Crimes. Going to work on making her scoring pass. But Blitz Siren calls off the jam.
That brings the Reservoir Dolls to 40 points. Vaudeville Vixens at 13. Still almost 21 minutes to go in this first half of the bout. We've got a shout out going out to Lacey. It's a Paisley world and you're just living in it. Another shout out. Love you, Amy Jo. You are the best. I can't read this. Oh, you are the best wife ever. Stay hot. Love you.
Getting back to the action on the track, looks like we have Sprout and a Tail taking lead jammer for the Reservoir Dolls. We have Kenna Vendetta jamming for the Vaudeville Vixens, so she is still fighting against the defense in the pack.
Kenna Vendetta going up against Shenanigans. Lip Smacker, Knocking Jay, and Call It a Wild. And it looks like Kenna Vendetta passing the star off to the pivot, Dalek Doll, hoping that Dalek Doll will be able to exterminate this Reservoir Dolls defense.
Well, she looked like she was going to get by there. She did get knocked out of bounds by Shenanigans. Looks like Shenanigans picked up a penalty on that move.
And Dalek Doll making her way through the pack as Sprout and a Tail still fighting against the Vixens, but she is on her second point scoring pass, I believe. And she picks up 3 there.
Looks like Sprout and a Tail was knocked out of bounds by Donna Stunner, incentivizing her to call off the jam, as Donna didn't waste any time getting to the back of the pack, trying to recycle Sprout and recycle the jammer back. Looks like we have a timeout being called by the Vaudeville Vixens. We'll take a moment here to do another shout out to one of our many awesome sponsors. I'd like to shout out to Chocolatarian Cafe down at 2004 Atwood Avenue, serving outstanding chocolate as well as savory items. A perfect destination.
And let's do that other shout out again. Love you, Amy Jo. You are the best wife ever. Stay hot. Love you. I thought it said best white even, and I didn't know what that meant. So obviously it's my reading, not your writing. I apologize.
Do have another shout out to Union Cab and to my supervisor, Jason Newberry. Love at ya from the Vaudevillain. So if you are have been partaking of a decent number of alcoholic beverages this evening, perhaps you would want to consider calling Union Cab for a safe ride home.
That number is 242-2000. 242-2000.
Easy to remember.
They've got a nice jingle that's easy to remember. And now back to the action on the track. We've got Berserkly jamming for the Vaudeville Vixens up against Mouse jamming for the Reservoir Dolls. Mouse playing a little bit of defense with her Reservoir Doll blockers up against Berserkly. They've got the back line there, and Berserkly is trying to get through. Find a little hole there that she can break her way through.
It looks like both jammers are still struggling to get through, though. Mouse is going to break through on the inside, taking lead jam for the Reservoir Dolls.
And Berserkly making her way past a hit from the Heat, and Glockness gets out of the pack. Mouse making her way around for this point scoring pass. She gets past a couple Vixens and calls that jam off after scoring 3 points for the Reservoir Dolls. Another shout out here to Mr. Carlson. I'm sure Mr. Carlson is a really nice guy, but the favorite Carlson of Savvy Otters is definitely Penny.
Wow. Looks like we might have a bit of a war going on between the Carlsons here.
That might be. Thanks for all the shout outs to Mr. Carlson and friends and family.
I'm enjoying the saga of the Carlsons.
And back on the track, we've got Charlie Hustle jamming for the Reservoir Dolls up against Feminine Hijinks for the Vaudeville Vixens. Looks like Charlie Hustle was slowed down there, and she's called off the track. I think that was a high block penalty.
Certainly looked like
That'll
it.
send her to the Monkey Bar Gym penalty box, leaving Feminine Hijinks and the Vaudeville Vixens with a power jam. Feminine Hijinks, the only jammer on the track. She will try and get past the Reservoir Dolls defense.
It looks like she was called out on a penalty while trying to work her way past Blitz Siren, Jean Lane, and Sassbot.
Jean Lane, a nice little step back there as she tried to get back in bounds, but couldn't do so quickly enough to not get a track cut call. So Charlie Hustle is released from the penalty box, and she's back on the track.
And since Feminine Hijinks only had to serve as much time as Charlie Hustle had served, she is also back on the track.
Both jammers now trying to score as many points as they can for their team. Whoa, Charlie Hustle threw that pack really fast. Looks like both jammers scoring a Minnie Madison Grand Slam, because as they went through the pack, the other jammer was previously in the box, so I think they get that jammer point. Charlie Hustle through the pack for another 4 points. And because both jammers were sent to the box, we'll be jamming for the whole 2 minutes. Jeandu Snark trying to play some defense there against Charlie Hustle, but she just sneaks right past her for another 4 points for the Reservoir Dolls, while Feminine Hijinks fights her way past the wall of Reservoir Dolls there on the track. And whistles, that jam ends.
Yep. As indicated by those lovely whistles from our referees. Looks like lining up for this next jam on the Plan B jammer line, we have Knocking Jay jamming for the Reservoir Dolls up against Jocelyn Hell Burnell for the Vaudeville Vixens.
We want to give a shout out to WSUM 91.7 Madison Student Radio, the Snake on the Lake. Thank you for supporting the Mad Rollin' Dolls. And now back to the action. We've got Knocking Jay with a couple nice jumps there on the inside line, getting past the Vixens and getting lead jam for the Reservoir Dolls. Jocelyn Hell Burnell jamming her way through as well, not lead jam.
It's like Knocking Jay is going to do her best to get through the pack, but when she realizes that she isn't going to do it in time for Jocelyn Hell Burnell, or before Jocelyn Hell Burnell starts scoring points herself, she calls off that jam.
2 more points for the Reservoir Dolls. That brings them up to 71 points. Vaudeville Vixens at 25 points. 14 and a half minutes left in this first period. Another shout out here to Lacey. Lacey, be careful of stabbing with too many swords. And I say swords, that's right. Be careful of stabbing with too many swords. On the jammer line now. Who do we got there? Too much movement, I can't see.
Oh, looks like we have Wipeout Scout jamming for the Reservoir Dolls up against Nefarious for the Vaudeville Vixens. Looks like Wipeout Scout is going to break out first to take lead jam.
And Nefarious still fighting against Glockness. Full frontal Judity and Mouse. She makes her way around the outside and is through. Mouse tries to take one last hit off her, but is outside of that engagement zone. And so Nefarious on her point-scoring pass, just as Wipeout Scout is sent to the box on a forearm penalty. She'll spend 30 seconds in the Monkey Bar Gym penalty box, while Nefarious and the Vaudeville Vixens have a power jam. Nefarious making her way through the pack with a Minnie Madison Grand Slam, and she just does it again there. I don't know if the Reservoir Dolls were ready for her, even knowing that she had come around the track that fast. So another Minnie Madison Grand Slam.
It was very quick. She did have a good bit of help from A Magnitude there, knocking the Reservoir Dolls blocker out of the way, allowing Nefarious to get through there.
And Nefarious brought to the back of the pack by Mouse, but she gets back up and is fighting her way past that blocker, or that wall of blockers. Wipeout Scout back on the track after serving her time in the penalty box. She gets through the pack and scores 4 points for the Reservoir Dolls. And Nefarious through the pack again for another 4 points for the Vaudeville Vixens. I think that makes 3 Grand Slams total for Nefarious and the Vaudeville Vixens, bringing their points to 40. Reservoir Dolls at 75. Both jammers now just getting through the pack, trying to get as many points as they can before the jam ends.
Yeah, definitely a good jam for the Vixens there, closing the score gap a little bit.
That's just what the Vixens need right now, is to close that gap.
Yeah, we have the Reservoir Dolls at 79 right now, with the Vaudeville Vixens at 44, with just under 12 minutes remaining in the first half of this bout.
Let's thank another one of our sponsors, the Shoebox in Black Earth, Wisconsin, one of the largest independent shoe stores in the USA. service like it ought to be.
Looking back to the track, looks like we have Dalek Doll jamming for the Vaudeville Vixens up against Blitz Siren jamming for the Reservoir Dolls.
And Blitz Siren trying to make her way past one of her former teammates, Stank Girl the Stench Wench. Stank Girl, though, it looks like is sent to the penalty box along with the Reservoir Dolls, Jean Lane, and the Vaudeville Vixen jammer, Dalek Doll.
So that means we have a power jam for the birthday girl, Blitz Siren.
All right, everybody start singing happy birthday to Blitz Siren as she does this power jam for the Reservoir Dolls. The Vaudeville Vixens trying to make her pass through a little bit tough. Happy-go-lucky and Smartash up in front, trying to hold her back while Donna Stunner bridges that zone of engagement there. Dalek Doll back on the track from the penalty box. But Blitz Siren calling off that jam. Reservoir Dolls at 89 points. Vaudeville Vixens at 43. We've got some more shout-outs from the audience. A shout-out to Haley. Congrats on graduation. The lab will miss you. Way to go, Haley.
Got another shout-out. Happy anniversary, Tina Childs, a.k.a. Raven Madness. Love, Hubby Chris. Getting back down to the action. Who do we have jamming there, Dolly?
We've got Shantastic McAwesome jamming for the Vaudeville Vixens up against Sprout and a Tail for the Reservoir Dolls. Sprout and a Tail getting lead jammer for the Reservoir Dolls. And she makes her way around the track through the wall of Reservoir Dolls that's holding Shantastic McAwesome back there. But she's got to fight her way past that wall of Vixens.
Looks like Shantastic McAwesome was knocked out to the outside, recycled back by, looked like Shenanigans. So she is still working her way against that Reservoir Dolls defense.
And meanwhile, it looks like Sprout and a Tail gets through for a Minnie of Madison Grand Slam for the Reservoir Dolls in 5 points. As she gets her way around the track and back again, Feminine Hijinks knocks her to the inside, causing her to have to go and recycle to the back of the pack. Shantastic McAwesome still fighting against Shenanigans, who keeps taking her to the outside, knocking Jay. Call It a Wild, I believe, or I'm sorry, Shenanigans there, knocking Jay, Call It a Wild, and Lip Smacker, just holding Shantastic McAwesome back.
And it looked like Sprout and a Tail there almost got to stay in bounds on the outside line there. Tried going in a line with her skates. Didn't quite make it. She did get recycled back to the back of the pack. But now she's back out through, picking up a Minnie of Madison Grand Slam and 5 points for her team.
And the Reservoir Dolls there doing a good job, still holding on to defense while also playing a little bit of offense for their jammer. And there she does it again, Sprout and a Tail around the track and around the outside for another Grand Slam for the Reservoir Dolls. And that brings the Reservoir Dolls now up to 104 points, hitting that century mark. Vaudeville Vixens at 43 with still a little bit under 8 minutes to go in this first period.
I'd like to give another quick shout out to Club Inferno, who are going to be hosting our after party this evening. As we mentioned before, it will be the last MRD after party held at the Inferno since they will be closing their doors. So please, if you would like to join us, please come on down to the Inferno after this bout. Your ticket will get you free entry.
Hang out with all these great athletes. One of those is Mouse. She just got lead jammer for the Reservoir Dolls. And Mouse is out there jamming against Berserkly for the Vixens. Mouse getting around the track and scoring a Minnie Madison Grand Slam as she makes her way through the pack and around the track again.
Looks like Berserkly is just now making it through the pack. She is not your lead jammer, but she will begin working on making her scoring pass.
And Mouse knocked to the outside, but a great job of stopping and controlling herself. Moving to the back again and then calling that jam off before the Vixens have a chance to score any points. I have a shout out here to the Res Dolls. Fisty says, hey, misses and loves you all. And that's Fist Amendment, who skated for the Res Dolls and now has moved on down to, I believe it's Missouri. Kansas City. But she loves you, Res Dolls. On the line for the Res Dolls jamming now, we've got Hopscotch up against Kenna Vendetta for the Vixens. Kenna Vendetta fighting up against a wall of Reservoir Dolls in the front.
Ooh, but in the meantime, Hopscotch sneaks around on the inside.
And that Reservoir Dolls defense doing a great job of just quickly, if they can, playing a little bit of offense. Otherwise, their jammer is left on their own, and Hopscotch doing a good job of pushing that line of blockers out so she can score another Minnie Madison Grand Slam for the Reservoir Dolls.
That does bring our score to, I believe it is Vaudeville Vixens 43, Reservoir Dolls 115. We do have another shout out to add to the saga of Mr. Carlson. Mr. Carlson, please don't fight with Marge. It makes me sad. Many of us are very invested in this Mr. Carlson saga.
Shout outs to Mr. Carlson and Marge. We love you. And now back on the track and to the action, we've got Shenanigans jamming for the Reservoir Dolls up against Montana Slamma. Shenanigans making her way through the pack first, and she's lead jammer for the Reservoir Dolls. Vaudeville Vixen Wall making their way to the front of the pack, trying to knock Shenanigans out, but not before she calls the jam off and scores one more point for the Reservoir Dolls.
Looks like for this next jam, we will have Wipeout Scout jamming for the Reservoir Dolls up against Dalek Doll jamming for the Vaudeville Vixens.
And I'd like to thank the Wisco, Willie Street Pub and Grill, and Good Times Emporium. Call it what you like, it's the Wisco and the birthplace of roller derby in Madison.
Back on the track, the jam has begun. Both jammers trying to fight their way through the pack against their opposing blockers. Looks like Dalek Doll is going to get knocked to the outside by Glock Ness, allowing Wipeout Scout to break through and take lead jam for the Reservoir Dolls.
Dalek Doll still trying to fight her way past a wall of Reservoir Dolls, trying to get a little bit of help there with Nefarious playing a little bit of offense there, trying to. Meanwhile, Wipeout Scout making her way through the pack and around for a Minnie Madison Grand Slam for the Reservoir Dolls, adding another 5 points to their point score. Wipeout Scout taken to the outside by Mustang, but a hop, skip, and a jump brings her right back in.
Looks like she's just about ready to break through the pack, and she does, picking up another Minnie of Madison Grand Slam.
Meanwhile, we've got a WORT Back Porch Radio Star Pass. That goes to Nefarious from Dalek Doll, but doesn't give her enough time to get around the track and score some points. Wipeout Scout calls that jam off. And another shout out to Maggie. You are a great person. Congrats on graduation. The CCL will miss you dearly. All right, Maggie as well as Haley, both graduates. Both going to be missed.
Lots of graduates and birthdays here today.
That's right. It's that time of year.
Mad Rollin' Dolls Derby, a great place to celebrate any occasion.
And Blitz Siren making it out of the pack, jamming for the Reservoir Dolls. She is your lead jammer. She's jamming up against Jocelyn Hell-Burnell of the Vaudeville Vixens. Ooh, knocked down when she comes inside. Jocelyn Hell-Burnell goes to the ground, and Blitz Siren looked like she was coming around the track and knocked right into her. All the skaters are up again, though, but a couple are going off to the penalty box, and it looks like Jocelyn Hell-Burnell landing there. That was called as a low block. So she will spend some time in the Monkey Bar Gym penalty box.
Yep. So Blitz Siren now gets to take advantage of a power jam for her and the Reservoir Dolls, picking up another Minnie of Madison Grand Slam for 5 more points. Vixen's defense is getting ready for her as she comes back around to make another scoring pass, doing their best to keep her back, knocking her to the outside. Looks like she did end up getting knocked out and came back in front of who she had been knocked out by. So she has picked up a track cut penalty and is going to go spend 30 seconds in the penalty box.
Jocelyn Helbernell on the track now for the Vaudeville Vixens. She is the only jammer, and the Vixens have a power jam. Lots of action out on the track out there. We've got lots of big hits going on. And I think Jocelyn Helbernell takes the jammer's star off of her head. She passes it to the pivot, Whiskey and Choke. And now the Reservoir Dolls descend upon Whiskey and Choke, trying to slow her down.
She does get knocked down, but since she's
Gets
outside
right back up again.
Yep, outside that zone of engagement, free to move forward. The jam does end, though.
Coming to its natural conclusion of 2 minutes. That was a good fight put on by both teams. I think the Reservoir Dolls there got the most advantage of that initial power jam with Blitz Siren scoring some points there. Blitz Siren getting lead 50% of the time. High scorer for, actually, I think she is second high scorer for the Reservoir Dolls. Sprout and a tail scoring high this bout, and Blitz Siren coming in second.
Well, it looks like we're going to take a minute here as the Reservoir Dolls have asked for an official review. So let's take a moment here to give a few more shout-outs to our sponsors. I'd like to give a shout-out to Cooper's Tavern, craft beer, rustic food on the square. Have another shout-out for Eon Massage and Bodywork, committed to health, yours and the planet's. Have another little shout-out here from the audience. Frank, meet me in the bathroom. Go Reservoir Dolls.
I wonder how many people are going to go and meet in the bathroom.
However many Franks we have.
And we'd like to thank another one of our sponsors, Ultimate Arts, the area's finest custom studio. We specialize in doing as much original tattoo work as possible for our clients. Ultimate Arts Tattoo. We want to remind you the final bout of the season. Final bout of the season will be Saturday, May 9th. Come and join us here at the Alliant. We will be playing in the exhibition halls for our championship. We'll see the Vaudeville Vixens going up against the Quad Squad, followed by the Unholy Rollers and the Reservoir Dolls facing off for the championship bout.
So it looks like that official review was called by the Reservoir Dolls to contest a track cut that was called on Blitz Siren. However, the call is upheld. The review does not go through.
And that means the call stands.
It does indeed. It's like we have another quick moment here before we get started again. We have another pile of shout-outs. Have a shout-out, go Call of the Wild, from yo fam and friends. Sorry we couldn't think of anything more clever. Grandma says, go get 'em.
All right, and Call of the Wild out there lining up as a blocker with the Reservoir Dolls. Jamming for the Reservoir Dolls will be Sprout and a Tail. And jamming for the Vixens will be Kenna Vendetta.
And we do have just under 20 seconds remaining in the period clock, which means we will be going by the jam clock for this jam.
Sprout and a Tail out first, making her way past the Vaudeville Vixens, and she is lead jammer for the Reservoir Dolls. Kenna Vendetta getting out of the pack and racing towards her. And it looks like that jam was called off. And the period is over. So Couple more points there for the Reservoir Dolls. That brings their total to 142 points. And the Vaudeville Vixens with 43 points. We've got halftime now, and we've got, I think, a raffle as well as more of
Yeah, we will be reading off those raffle numbers after the Badger Band plays.